I am so sick and tired of all these gurus selling you information, selling you courses, selling you mentorships. But if you scour the internet, if you look deep into their content, they understand that information is useless. And I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to listen to them.
To your point, even of alternative education in general, when you say, hey, you could learn this stuff on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. The issue that we're solving for is not that it's not a knowledge gap. The issue is an accountability gap, is that people don't do stuff. Like, that is the primary issue with all humans in general, is that they will not endure short-term discomfort for a long-term achievement. That is it. You hack that, you hack success. That's all it is.
Sam Ovens.
We know what to do, but we can't do it because we don't have anyone observing us and anyone holding us accountable.
Iman Ghazi.
When you have someone looking at your stats, when you have weekly accountability calls, when you have that, it's like there's no running anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you can't hide, and this is such an important part. To me, this is the most important part of your business outside of your business.
Now, I've worked with 100+ entrepreneurs across literally every single niche that you can imagine. All we do is help entrepreneurs execute. In this video, I'll tell you about the 5 main keys that you need to understand to escape these lies. The first thing that they all believe in is that focus supersedes info. The reason why focus supersedes info is because info is useless on its own. And the reason why info is useless, just to give you a simple example, is because of you. Look at what you're doing right now. You've probably consumed hours and hours of content, and there's a lot of free content available. So it's not an information gap anymore. The info is available. If you scour the internet, if you scour YouTube, if you know exactly what problem to solve, you won't have any trouble at all when it comes to finding information to solve that problem. But if you overconsume this information, you're going to be left with so much information that you'll have a paradox of choice. So we call this POC here, not person of color, paradox of choice. When you have this piece of info, this piece of info, this piece of info, when you are surrounded by all these different pieces of information, all these models, people telling you do this niche, do this type of ad, start this personal brand, or, pivot to this, or do this and do that, you incur what we call a paradox of choice. The paradox is that you don't know what information to pursue. And that's why it's said that it has never been easier to start and scale a business, but it's also never been harder because it's never been easier to do literally anything else. It's not that starting a business now is hard, or even scaling a business now is hard, because we have all the resources available. The real issue is that because there's such an overload of information, we have become a slave to the tools that we've created, to the information that we've made widely available. And the key to solving for focus is actually what all of these gurus mention. It's accountability. Accountability is the one thing that yields focus repeatedly, empirically. We've tried it time and time again. Anything and everything else does not yield focus to the same degree that accountability does. Now, what is accountability? Accountability is shame. Accountability is consequence that is attached to you not following through, you not focusing, you not sticking to the plan. And when you combine the right type of focus with the right type of info, what you get is a laser-focused entrepreneur that not only knows exactly what to do, so that's the information part, but actually does it. And so the next logical question that we need to ask is, why do gurus sell information? Why don't they sell you stuff about focus? And the answer to that question is that information is easy to sell. When you're talking about info businesses, these info businesses are some of the most scalable businesses when it comes to the online world today. All you need to do is record one, evergreen module, usually not one, but you have, a few modules that you record, and all you got to do is sell people on them. Some of these video courses are going for $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. It's just information synthesis. They synthesize this information, they put it all together, and they give it to you for an egregious price. And this creates a very flywheel type of model. All they need to do is just master sales, master lead gen. They don't need to give a shit about actual fulfillment. They don't need to do anything when it comes to that, because the fulfillment is already done. You already have the course. You already have the information in one place. I know some of these gurus that do good. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of these gurus, Alex Hormozi, Sam Ovens, a lot of these people, those two in particular, have good courses. But I know people that literally haven't updated their courses in 3 years. And these are courses about shit like short form marketing. I mean, has short form marketing not changed? Of course it has. But they don't update their courses because they've figured out how to sell. They've figured out how to get you to buy their stuff. And the fulfillment is already done. So information is easy to sell. But when it comes to accountability that we were talking about before, accountability is hard to sell. What are you going to tell people? Are you going to tell people, oh, you're missing this one strategy, or you're missing this one tactic, or this is a new shiny object syndrome, which we're going to talk about. This new shiny object, this is what you're missing. You say that, everybody's light bulbs go off the fucking roof. But when you tell people, hey, listen, all of these things work. It's not about the strategies. It's not about the tactics. It's not about the shiny objects. You got to stick to one fucking thing, one model, one offer, one funnel. Actually focus on it and grow the fuck out of it. Nobody listens to you. Nobody wants to buy that. Nobody wants to invest in their focus. Even though Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Alex Hormozi, Sam Ovens, all the gurus that sell you information understand the importance of focus. They focus themselves, but they sell you the strategies, the tactics, the shiny objects because you eat that shit up. And so if you want to break free from this, you got to understand the entrepreneurial cycle. And I'm going to give full credit to Alex Hormozi here. Alex Hormozi is the one who introduced this to me, but this is so applicable when it comes to business. Here is the cycle of entrepreneurship. Down here, we're going to put in time. Okay. So this is the time that has elapsed. Here we have a few stages that we need to go over. At the beginning, you're in a stage of uninformed. So let's rewrite that, uninformed optimism, right? So let's just say that you just started a new client acquisition system, right? You're doing cold calling, all right? You're like, oh, I got this Google Maps scraper. This is easy. I'm going to sell my service for $1 billion a second. That's what my new hourly rate is. Elon Musk is going to be scrubbing at my toilet soon. Warren Buffett, he's basically my virtual assistant, have him move to the Philippines. You start cold calling, right? You're like, you know what? It's going to be easy, right? I got all my leads. I got everything. You're in a stage of uninformed optimism. So you're thinking everything's going to go fine. Then the stage that comes up is informed pessimism, right? And the unfortunate part is most people that aren't entrepreneurs quit here, right? So congratulations. If you are an entrepreneur, you have skipped this step. You have gone past informed pessimism. Then you're like, wait a minute, I made 10, 20 cold calls and these business owners aren't paying me $1 trillion a millisecond. What's going on? I thought I was a special cookie. I thought people would I thought people would eat my shit up. And then you're like, shit, I got to make a lot more than 10 cold calls. And then comes, ladies and gentlemen, what I like to call fuck. But since my editor and my business partners and literally everybody in the company has told me to censor myself, we're going to call it what everybody else calls it, the valley of despair. And the valley of despair, ladies and gentlemen, is where the entrepreneur quits. So this is the quit that the entrepreneur does. And the problem with the entrepreneur is that he's smart enough to rationalize it. He says, oh, look, I split tested this variable and this. So I did 100 cold calls, right? I didn't do 10, right? I did 100 now, right? This is what happens when you're in the valley of despair. You might have done 1,000. You might have done 10,000 and nothing would have worked. Who knows? Sometimes you need a lot of volume, a lot more than you expect to actually get past the valley of despair. But then you intellectualize some reason because you're an intelligent entrepreneur, not built for the school system. You're street smart. All the books, they didn't fucking give you your validation. You're an entrepreneur. You're an intelligent dude. So you tell yourself, you know what? Cold calling, the service that I sell, it really isn't designed to be sold over the phone. I've done, 100,000, 10,000 cold calls. This shit just doesn't work. And so then you say, I'm going to try something besides it. So you're like, you know what? Cold calling, nah, forget about cold calling. Sayonara to cold calling. Let's do cold email. Sometimes at first, it's just it's just like, we're just going to try both. Because let's just commoditize our focus. Let's throw our focus in every single direction because we're stupid, we're fucking retards. But eventually it just becomes this new thing. And then it happens over and over again. But what entrepreneurs don't realize is that when it comes to the entrepreneurial cycle, there's two other things that are meant to happen. Informed optimism and then achievement. So this is when you actually achieve the goal of getting your system, getting your business, getting your funnel, getting your offer to actually be optimized, to be refined. This lesson, ladies and gentlemen, this lesson of how much time and how much volume it actually takes to get something to the point of achievement is the hardest lesson in business to learn. And until you learn this lesson, you will always be in a cycle of quitting and telling yourself that, you validated the system or invalidated the system because you tested shit. when in reality, you just weren't doing enough volume and you weren't actually sticking to it for a long enough time to refine it, to optimize it, and to actually make a profit from it. Hey, by the way, if you're resonating with the content, we started a 6-week focus challenge just for entrepreneurs. If you're trying to scale your business and you're struggling with all the things that are being mentioned in the video, we have a 6-week focus challenge for you. If you want to sign up for it, we'll leave a link somewhere down in the description. And as I mentioned before, this is only for entrepreneurs. So if you're not an entrepreneur, please don't join. But if you are an entrepreneur, let's see you inside. And so the question is, how do you actually evade shiny object syndrome? This is number 4. Shiny object syndrome has killed more businesses than Mark Zuckerberg with his ad account shutdowns. Shiny object syndrome has killed more businesses than the Joe Biden administration. I don't know what the UK equivalent is, maybe Keir Starmer, I don't know. But shiny object syndrome is most easily defined as a switch. That's just what I call shiny object syndrome, or a with. If you're doing something with something else, or if you're switching something, number 1, as I mentioned before, the with will eventually turn into a switch. But either one of these are enough of a prerequisite to constitute shiny object syndrome. And shiny object syndrome exists in stages. When you're starting out, it's the business, okay? You keep switching businesses. Then it's offers, right? Then it's funnels. Then it's sales systems, right? Whatever the hell it is. Every single entrepreneur at every single stage has this problem where they keep switching, right? And it's kind of like a level that you have to ascend to. It's like the entrepreneurial funnel, right? The entrepreneur that can get past, switching between drop shipping and SMMA and service-based and all this bullshit, actually pick one. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Actually pick one and then move on to the offer. Actually pick one and then move on to the funnel. Actually pick one and then move on to the sales system. Actually pick one and then move on to the acquisition system. So on and so forth is the only entrepreneur that's going to get to the point of achievement. Okay, that's how it works. The shiny object syndrome funnel is the funnel that every single entrepreneur that ironically has ever made a funnel goes through. And once again, how do you fix shiny object syndrome? With accountability. Shiny object syndrome is the inverse of focus. And you could be focused on a micro level. You could be working 12, 15, 18-hour days. But if you keep switching, if you're focusing on the wrong things, or you're focusing on different things, on a macro level, you're not focused. And so you need accountability. And just to help you realize the weight of this, let's move on to the last point, which is the exponential nature of business. One of the most strongest forces in business is the force of compounding. That's literally the wallpaper I've had on my phone for the longest amount of time. This, ladies and gentlemen, is basically the graph that explains all of business. When it comes to investing, when it comes to stocks, right? When it comes to literally anything. But this also applies when it comes to business, okay? That's what most people don't understand. Business is exponential. Okay, business compounds, your skills compound, your goodwill compounds, your referrals, they compound. Everything in business is exponential. But the thing is, if you keep switching every single time you move from cold email to cold calling, or one ad to the other, or one offer to the next, or one funnel to this one, every time you switch your fucking sales process, you are restarting this graph. This is what it looks like. You're going. Oh, cold email doesn't work. Oh, you're going, cold calling doesn't work. This sales system, nah. New offer, new funnel. So you keep restarting. And you're always stuck at one point, which is down here. You're always stuck down here, right here. All you need to do is let time do its thing. Let focus remain. Let this thing still exist. And then eventually there will be a huge delta between this point and this point. And this is what I'm telling entrepreneurs. The difference between 70% effort and 99% effort in business can be the difference between $0 and 100 million. Because again, when you look at an exponential graph, when you look at it like this, nothing works. Like, just put this into perspective, okay? This is why you think nothing works. If you just zoom out, if you look at the bigger picture, you'll see that things just have to launch. Things just need time to refine. Your focus needs to cultivate, it needs to grow, it needs to compound on itself. Even focus compounds. But every single time you switch, you start this cycle over and over again, and you're literally not only burning time, which I would say is more valuable than money, but you're also burning cash. Ladies and gentlemen, if you liked the video, like and subscribe. If not, I apologize. You can leave a bad comment. There's a dislike button as well. And by the way, I'm okay with any type of comment, just don't make it racist. Some dude made fun of like me for being Indian. I'm actually Pakistani. But if it's not racist and it's not like egregiously illegal, we'll keep your comment. So go ahead, leave all your hate comments in the comment section, unsubscribe and dislike. Catch you guys in the next one.